Okay, so you've read the title. If you want to fight me, go on, show me what you've got, you fuck. Well, let's all relax. It's just an opinion. And with that, I should probably explain what the beginning after the end is. If you know nothing about the story, it originally was a novel that later got adapted into a manhwa. And manhwa is like a manga, but it was created by a South Korean author. As for the actual story, we follow a character called Arthur, and with the first chapter we get shown that in his past life he was a king that got poisoned and died. Right after that, we are shown him being born into a new world. Rather than having a story that starts in a world based on reality, the main character was already in a world that was purely fictional. Whilst this is something small, I found it to be an interesting change to the isekai idea. I know a lot of people will have a problem with me comparing One Piece, the greatest show of all time, with a show that has isekai themes. However, I never said that the story could replace One Piece, but it has the capability to produce a great world comparable to One Piece's. Firstly, I'll talk about the story, and as not to spoil the story, I'll be avoiding talking about specific topics. However, I'll talk about the themes and subjects that are covered in the story. One of the first expansive subjects that we are introduced to is magic and its existence. Rather than instantly explaining the ranking within magic and the powers that you'll be able to achieve with it, we are just shown it. This is a good way to introduce things and make them enjoyable to learn about. Firstly, show the subject and its base possibilities, and then later expand on it. This is a simple rule, but one that long and detailed stories always use to make things easier to understand and expand on in later sections of the story. For example, in One Piece, this is what is done with Devil Fruit and later Haki. Rather than us knowing about both of them at the same time, we're introduced to one subject that gets expanded on, and after we get more used to the information, new or more advanced subjects get added. This is the same format that schools try to use to help people learn. Beginning after the end uses the same way to write to add more to the world. It could be done to the powers or culture and characters that get added. Fundamentally, this is what creates a good story in my opinion. For example, if we think about a show like Attack on Titan, which has the greatest plot twist in anime, and One Piece, one of the greatest fictional worlds written, have both made sure that it's easy to understand and digest their information at the pace that it should be done. When I look at One Piece, I honestly don't think that the plot is something insane. However, the world is written in a way that you don't feel any loose ends existing. The beginning after the end feels the same way, but it also leaves some areas unanswered for a time so that it can get back to them later. One Piece does this as well. However, due to how vast the story of One Piece is, it feels less impactful. As for Attack on Titan, I feel more attached to its themes compared to One Piece, and this is the same for the beginning after the end, as the themes are more interesting and the characters are better written in my opinion. I know most people will disagree, however, I'll say this right now. It's your fault, One Piece fans. You're the reason why I'll always underappreciate One Piece. It's a show that has been overhyped to the highest degree, leading me onto another reason why I think the beginning after the end is better. In simple terms, it hasn't been ruined for me. While One Piece is a good show that has a great world, at the time that I started watching it, people more or less told me it was the second coming of Christ. When this happens, it puts my expectations very high, and unfortunately, they were too high. Even now, I know what's happening in the manga, and I'm just not that hyped for any of it. At one point, I'll probably make a separate video talking about my problems with One Piece and what I think of it. However, let's just save that for another video, shall we? Moving on, I'll talk about the characters in the beginning after the end. Next, as is my favorite part of the story. Firstly, they are real, and what I mean by that is that their reaction and choices very much reflect their characters. Sometimes stories have characters that are shown to have a way of thinking, however their actions don't reflect it. For example, in ReZero, Subaru. He has a developing character, however a lot of the things that he does and thinks contradict each other. He can give reasons for this, however I personally find the character to be inferior to most other main characters. As for Arthur, we are given the reasons for all of his choices, and he also develops as a character throughout the show, but he always keeps his heroic personality. All of his choices are normally done due to the fact that they are correct morally or logically, and this makes him a relatable main character. Later in the story, some of the choices are very important as they affect the dynamic with certain characters, just like they would in real life. Next, I'll talk about the things that are explained within the world. We have combat that has many aspects from sword fighting to magic and the many different uses it has. The thing with magic is that there are many different levels to it as well, which is still getting expanded on. The world is vast with as being shown the human and elven culture in detail. As both of these get developed, you get introduced to a lot of characters that inform you more about the world and how it works. Later, there's a part where we are introduced to the way that adventuring in the world works. There's also a section where we are introduced to how the education is developed within the world as well. There are many aspects that are explored in extensive detail to make the world feel more complete. We later also get to explore conflict and the divine beings that exist in the world. Personally, there is nothing that I find not explored that I'd show interest in. These are only the things that get looked at within half of the story, which leaves me excited to see what happens next. Make sure to hit the like button if you liked the video, hit the dislike if you didn't like the video. Make a comment, we can start a little discussion if you want to talk about anything, like my opinions, or maybe other things that you want to talk about, other shows you want me to review, or if you just want to say hi, I'll respond as quickly as possible. Make sure to subscribe, hit that red button, get that notification on. Come on, if you got it this far, come on, just click the button. And hope to see you next time. Bye.